Just a reminder, these are all my opinions and are of course subject to change. This is all subjective after all. Discussion is always welcome, just don't be a butthead. Does anyone else remember the time period between 2008 and 2014 where just about every young adult novel was being turned into a movie? You had the Twilight series, the movie The Host from the same author as the Twilight series, the incredibly popular Hunger Games, which was about PETA and his bread, I think. There was even an attempt by Divergent to get off the ground, but that fell flat on its face. The Giver, which technically exists as a movie, but is a much better book. And then there's my personal favorite, the Maze Runner trilogy with Dylan O'Brien. Granted, for most of these, I was not the target demographic, but there was one that came out at the perfect time with a story that grabbed my little teenager brain. Today, we are going all the way back to 2011 to look at a movie that can help you with your counting skills. I am number 4. Whenever I go back and watch movies that take place in high school, around the same time I was in high school, it makes me laugh every single time. I'm always amazed at how writers and directors portray high school students and how they think teenagers act. I Am Number 4 checks all the boxes in my book for being a dumb movie with pretty solid action, stupid plot points that are wildly inconsistent, and dialogue that's so bad, it's actually hilarious at points.
No, you know I can hurt you.
With an almost 2-hour runtime, this movie ultimately suffers from overly long sequences and poor pacing. A great example of this is the opening shot. This might be the longest zoom-in sequence I've ever seen. I'm not joking. This thing goes on for a single minute, and it's just to show us a hut in the jungle somewhere on Earth. Essentially, the plot and setup for this movie is as follows. 9 kids were sent to Earth just as the evil Mogadorians were wiping out their planet's people. The kids are a race called the Loric, and they were sent to Earth with a protector in order to one day fight back. Turns out the bad guys also followed them to Earth, and now they are hunting them one by one in order of the number they were given. Our title character, number 4, is played by Alex Pettyfer, who would go on to dance with the magical Michael just 1 year later. His protector Henry is played by Timothy Oliphant, and he's been keeping them on the move to avoid the bad guys from picking up their scent. However, after 4's leg lights up like a Roman candle, he is forced to leave all his friends behind and move again, but this time to the worst place imaginable, Ohio. That's right, this entire movie takes place in Paradise, Ohio, the biggest oxymoron any movie has attempted. So 4 wants to go be a normal kid at the high school, but Henry won't let him because it's too dangerous and could make it easier for them to be found. And he was right, because 4 goes to school anyways, and he immediately gets his photo taken and put on the internet. On his first day of school, we meet his future love interest Sarah, outcast UFO believer Sam, and stereotypical bully Mark, who is also the son of the sheriff. Mark makes fun of Sam for his UFO beliefs, so naturally our main character has to rush to his defense, which makes 4 now a target for the bullies as well. But during class, when everyone is watching a documentary, 4's hands start to glow and light up, just like his leg did before, so he runs out and hides in a closet. Henry shows up and finds him there and tells him that he basically has special powers called legacies, and only number 4 and number 9 have these abilities because their parents were also super special fighters back on their home planet. We are treated to a wonderful parkour and power testing scene in the woods that ends with a hilarious slow motion backflip off a cliff.
That was legitness.
Which brings us to my favorite segment on this channel.
Magnum Speed Round.
The middle chunk of this movie moves super slow and honestly doesn't cover a lot. So let's rapid fire all the important plot points so we can get to the fun part of this movie. 4 ends up at Sarah's house for dinner and more poorly written teen romance occurs.
A place is only as good as the people you know in it.
The bullies do more bullying by exploding paint on 4 and Sam so they can have a little bit more of a bonding moment. Then a spring festival in the town is going on, and for some reason, there is a haunted hayride that Sarah and 4 go on. which again, this takes place in the spring, which to my knowledge is nowhere near Halloween. The bully goons kidnap Sarah from the hayride, so 4 hulks out and Sam sees him use his powers to ragdoll these teenagers into trees. Sam tells 4 to come over so he can confront him about what he saw, and 4 tells him he's an alien. That makes 4 and Henry fight because 4 is in love and Henry warns him that their kind loves forever and it's dangerous. Then the bad guys kidnap Henry from their house and decide not to take or kill 4, the main person they are going after. So 4 and Sam drive to the house where Henry's being kept, and that brings us into the third act of this movie. A fight breaks out and the good guys are able to escape the baddies, but in the process, Henry gets stabbed and joins Peter Parker and the rest of the Avengers. Because of all the commotion and death that's been happening, the sheriff puts a bolo out for 4, so the first thing that 4 does is go to a very public party where Mark is so he can say goodbye to Sarah. The cops show up because Mark is also a narc.
The better question is, are you a narc?
And Sarah and 4 go on the run because she's fully in love with him after just 3 days. This sets up the final showdown to be at the local high school, and the bad guys surround the building to take 4 out once and for all. They also straight up kill Mark by chucking him out a window, but that's okay because he kinda sucked anyway. Now, there is one character I haven't mentioned yet because even though we get brief glimpses of them throughout the entire movie, they don't do anything important until this final showdown. Number 6, played by Teresa Palmer, arrives to help 4 with the fight. The entire movie, we randomly cut to her doing very small and unimportant things like looking at her laptop, standing in a crowd, and searching a house. What I love about number 6 is that the first time we see her, she ends up blowing up 4's old house in Florida, and Adele's Rolling in the Deep is playing as her theme music. This is pure 2011 gold. To be honest, I actually really enjoyed this final fight of powers and laser guns, as well as some creepy monsters they threw in just for fun. There's also a moment where 4's dog that has been following around the entire movie turns into a chimera and fights a weird winged bat pig. I'm not really sure what this thing is, but I enjoyed the fight scene. In the end, the good guys are able to best the evil space invaders and save the day. So 4, 6, and Sam team up to go look for the remaining numbers and fulfill their destiny. And oh hey, Mark is still alive, I guess. And the camera just slowly pushes him out of frame. I Am Number 4 has a plot that makes 0 sense if you think about it longer than 2 seconds. And because this movie is so slow, it gives you plenty of time to think about it. It's never explained in the movie why the bad guys have to kill each number in order. There's just one throwaway line that says, "This is how it has to be." It's also a little confusing on how long they've all been on Earth. It's hinted they've been here for years and years, but none of them thought to team up. All of them know the others exist, so why was 6 the only one trying to find the other numbers? Plus, if they can only be killed in order, wouldn't that make fighting all 9 of them at once extremely hard? And then there's the fact that 4 doesn't have to go to school, yet he does everything he can to go to school. Him wanting to make friends is an interesting plot point that just isn't executed well. I mean, 4 is an alien with no friends, so it makes sense he would want to go and be social and have a normal life. But the way the movie shows you this makes it look like he's just miserable for a choice he doesn't have to make. I feel like I've harped on the writing enough, but to reiterate, these are the types of lines this movie has in it.
I play a lot of Xbox.
For me personally, my favorite part about this movie is the action scenes that we do end up getting. I like the way they use 4's powers, and the fights with the Mogadarians are fun and compelling enough to make a good action bit. Maybe it's because this movie is such a relic from a time period that is long gone, and it's also cheesy and corny enough to be something enjoyable to watch. I can't explain it, but something about this movie made me have enough fun to give it a spot in So Bad, It's Good. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, check out my review on Snake Eyes. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below what movie you'd like to see me cover in the future.